I really believe tonight's game was a great team win. I thought it spoke volumes about our group, and something we talked about in the locker room was how different players have been placed in different positions and roles. You know, you got Carlos Rosario starts the season as a starter, plays considerable minutes, ends up, in a game, I don't know how many weeks ago, not even playing, and then playing limited minutes, but his attitude hadn't changed. And he comes ready to help his team every single day. Braden Moore goes from not playing, and then in conference games was averaging, coming into tonight's game, I think roughly 19 minutes a game. That's not easy to do. Darius Robinson's minutes were reduced, but he didn't change, came in ready, and I thought he really contributed down the stretch in a positive way. I could go on and on and on. Obviously, JoJo Moore is growing in front of our eyes every time he steps on the court. And, God willing, he'll continue to do that. I thought Isaac McBride was tremendous down the stretch, which isn't, abnormal. And I thought Josh Jones gave us some valuable minutes. He had a great wall up at the end that prevented a shot at the rim. He had a rebound, and then on a sideline out of bounds play, they end up denying McBride, and Josh becomes a willing receiver and, maintains the possession without us having to burn a timeout. So I just thought it was a tremendous team win, and we did a much better job in the second half with our coverages regarding Eagle staff. I think he had 3 points in the second half. I might be wrong. But I just thought it was a tremendous team win.
You have a season low in threes tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Although ironically it was Isaac's big three at the end that seals things. Was that something that you thought, going into the game, there might be more emphasis on getting the ball, driving, taking it to the basket, or did it just evolve that way?
I think it just happened that way because what we've tried to do is get more movement after sets, and we want to be able to drive the ball. We feel like we have guys that can create off the dribble. Obviously, Isaac is terrific at doing that, and then playing off the drive. So if you force help move the ball, and sometimes people help from different areas of the floor, and that determines where the ball goes. But I thought we were able to get into deep paint. I thought we got to the free throw line better than we have. But teams typically are going to try to limit the number of threes that we can take because obviously it's been a big part of who we are. But again, I thought our guys did a great job attacking the paint, getting to the free throw line. I think we had 50 points in the paint. So that's something that's not normal for our team. So I thought that's part of what offset the number of threes, but we didn't go into the game trying to minimize the threes that we were going to take. We have certain threes that we want to take, and then there's other shots, period, that we don't want to take, and we've been chipping away at. Let's focus on the shots that we're fighting for and then walk away from these shots that we don't want to take because the percentages are just too low with those shots. And we're too good offensively when we play together. At least that's the message to the team.
And JoJo seemed to be more aggressive as far as being able to get to the free throw line tonight. And I guess that's something that as he gets more experience, is that something you're looking to see more from him?
I think something that, I just said this a second ago, like JoJo's a really willing learner. So I'm meeting with him to watch film individually from the North Dakota State game. And we're about halfway through his film, but he's got to go to the weight room. So he says, "Hey, Coach, can we finish after practice?" Sure. So the fact that he wanted to finish and he's looking at the screen and he knows I got a bunch more to show him. And these are all learning opportunities. I shouldn't say all. A lot of them are learning opportunities. And then I end up in here and I'm meeting with Jackson Skipper, Luke Gray, and I didn't realize he's sitting up in the stands and he's just waiting. So I thought he was in the locker room. So I'm getting ready to leave to go to the locker room to see if he's in there. And I hear this, "Hey, Coach." And I look up and it's him. So he wants to finish the film session. So first of all, I think that says a lot about him and how he's wired and who he really wants to be. And then we had a conversation. And I said, "You need to understand good isn't good enough." And I said, Bill Parcells said that many years ago to a quarterback that you won't know his name. All right? But that has to be your mentality because you're really good, but you can't allow good to be good enough. And I need to challenge you more. And he said, "Coach, I want you to coach me hard. I want to be great." And again, I think that says so much about him. And I don't like that word, believe. that he's going to continue to grow. He's going to go through challenges, right? It's not like it's going to be a smooth ride the rest of the year. That's part of it. But I think the fact that he embraces learning and has a will to improve is allowing him to get better. So one thing we talked about was playing off 2 feet more, right? Because some of the trouble that he finds, he's playing off 1 foot. So he plays off 1 foot, he gets stuck. So against UMKC, he plays off 1 foot, ball goes to the side of the backboard. Second possession of the North Dakota State game, he plays off 1 foot, he puts the ball into hands, right? I don't know if it was 2 hands or 4 hands. So we turn the ball over. Tonight, back to what you said, I don't think he played off 1 foot one time. Unless he was going to the rim, where I tell him, if you can turn your shoulders to the rim and there's nobody between you and the rim, have at it. You go off 1 foot all you want. But if not, you better play off 2 feet. And I thought he maintained his dribble and he pivoted, which is something that we work on. But again, willing learner. He listened to what we talked about, and I thought he applied it into tonight's game.
Did you see more defensive intensity tonight?
Thank the good Lord. Yeah. I've got to do a better job making sure that our guys are aware. One of the coaches told me today, even though I didn't want to hear it, he said, I think the last game plan was too confusing. And I was like, look, man, all we did was talk about A, B, and C. And he said, yeah, it's easy for you, but it's not for them. And I thought, okay, well, let's make sure it's simple today. And maybe that was part of the reason. And I've got to be better at making sure that there's clarity, because I do think this. I ask, but they're going to tell me what I want to hear, right, the majority of the time. So I've got to be willing to take feedback like I did today and adjust. So, okay, well, let's make sure there is no confusion. And instead of whatever, these other 2 coverages, let's just focus on this one. And then if we have to adjust, we will. But I do think our defense was better. I think we out-rebounded somebody for the first time, and I can't tell you how long. I might be wrong, but I think we did. We still gave up 15 offensive rebounds, which is too many, but they're one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the country. In one category, they're 6th. I don't know if it's second chance points or rebound percentage, but one of those, they're 6th in the country. So it's not like it's something they don't do, but we can't give up 15 offensive rebounds. That's something we still have to clean up. But overall, I thought our defensive intensity was better. We still, again, we botched some coverages, and we got things to work on, as we will all the time. But overall, I thought there were a lot of good things defensively.
I know it's still really early in the Summit League season, but how big was getting that first Summit League win tonight?
It is early. I think the main thing is maintaining a mentality. And again, to our guys' credit, because people were asking, like, how are the guys doing? How are the guys doing? I said, look, like you watched the other night, we're down the whole night, right? They didn't change. They fought the whole time. And to me, that's who they are. And their mentality has been tremendous. And to walk into the little area that's outside of the locker room and just to hear, like, them celebrating, that made my night, right? Obviously winning made my night. But to listen to that, that's what you're hoping for. And then you got to go back and explain, okay, this is what we did well. This is how we have to improve. And this is what it looks like to win, right? Like, I'll give you an example. Josh Jones walling up at the end and creating a miss is something that can easily get overlooked because it doesn't show up on this piece of paper. That's a winning play. Isaac McBride finding a steal at the end of the game. That's a winning play. I know that shows up on his stat sheet. Our guys doing a better job communicating in the second half where we can show that as compared to the first half. Those are winning plays. So we have to continue to emphasize, what does it take to win? Because ultimately, like I say this, it takes what it takes. And you can get comfortable because that's what happens sometimes. You win and you think, okay, we're good. And that's, to me, not acceptable, right? You win, you're glad you win, and then, like Belichick's line, on to the next, right? You get focused on who's next, and then what do we need to do to win? And I'm confident that our guys will be ready to be prepared to go on the road next week.